Welcome to Chik Chat, the podcast where the girl with many titles talks about life, the good and the bad, and everything around it. We're going to sit, chat, share life stories and experiences, from business to relationship. Welcome to another episode of the Chik Chat podcast. I'm joined today by G.
Hello.
Hello, look at this cross-promotion from one podcast to another. How's it going?
All right. Just watched Ireland beat Italy there in the rugby.
We'll ignore that part because we don't know when this is coming out. But yeah, happy that Ireland won anyway.
Yep.
Well, great. See, we need to figure out a system for this, depending on when these are going to be coming out, because I want them to be a bit timely.
Doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah. Anyway. And you never asked me how I am.
Oh,
yeah.
How are you?
That's why I was looking at you like a pause, go on, I'm fine, thanks. But it's all right, because if you are new here, we've got a different format for my podcast, and you start off with your tip of the week or challenge of the week. The middle, we check in with how you are, how you really are, and then we end with a win of the week. So, what is your challenge of the week or tip of the week?
For the week coming?
Just in general, what challenge, what week coming or at the moment?
I guess just work, isn't it? Challenge, first of all, going to work. Second of all, challenge that we've had an addition to our workload because someone's off for a while. So
yeah.
But no, I can't really think of a good tip.
That's all right. Because you do have a challenge. I feel like, do I have a challenge of them? No, actually, I've got both. Which one? I'm going to go for challenge of the week. My challenge of the week, I was saying to you earlier, is just sitting and doing nothing.
You didn't do it?
Yeah, I didn't do it. But that's just because I thought if I'm upstairs and I do a little bit of tidying, then the bedroom's ready for when we go to bed. Because the last couple of nights I've chucked stuff on there and then forgotten I did. So at least I've moved stuff off there. And then I just thought if I'm not doing something work related, then although I set all this up and tried new lighting, if anyone's watching, I'm trying something a little bit different. But yeah, I did all of that and then sat and recorded a TikTok that can be posted sometime this week. So yeah, my challenge is just, I honestly just think I'm addicted to doing something. And even though I've started doing self-care days and all that, I don't know why, especially at the moment, I've been so organised, it's making me struggle, which is weird.
Just need to chill out, man.
I do. I was actually just writing in my diary there, planning, and I'm going to plan myself some rewards and plan stuff ahead of time so that I've got no choice. Let's say I'm out of the house. I've got no choice but not to think about work or not to do something work related. Well, we'll see how that goes. So anyway, yeah, that's my challenge. Right, so I wanted to get you on.
You said you had a tip.
I know, but then I thought, am I going to share the tip? Because you normally do one or the other. But, well, I guess my tip is to do with being challenged. No, my tip is to do with my challenge. Like I said, my tip is I have been organising our life. And actually, that's a great segue as well to us starting the podcast and why I wanted you on. Because my tip is systemize and plan as much as you can because it's freaking great when you do it. However, that's how I feel. However, I don't think even your face at the moment, for anyone watching, that didn't look like a smile. It was like, yeah, systemizing life's great. Recording every little thing's great. Not recording as in recording for on a camera. I mean as in writing down your tasks and to-do lists and whatever else. But yeah, for me, that's my tip because it's opened up space for me to realise I still don't know how to relax. But at the same time, I feel like the house is clean, the washing's done and put away. There's no ironing. We've got bed sheets ready and ironed. Although I didn't do them, but that's the whole point delegating.
You iron anyway.
I do iron once in a while. I just don't like ironing. I prefer finding clothes that don't need ironing.
Once in a while makes it sound too often.
I do once in a while.
Once a year.
Go away once a year. I can even tell you the last time that I did iron. It was December.
So
2 months ago.
So you haven't ironed this year?
Oh, I think I might have ironed this year because but the iron was on for some reason. Maybe I was just checking it for Maggie. Well, anyway, we're in February, so I think I'm doing all right. This is it. I have a soft life, and that soft life means there are some things I just don't bother with anymore or touch. But yeah, this whole podcast, I wanted to just talk about like just a check in first of all, but also as someone that has to live with this, I think it'd be nice to have another point of view. And you've got to be honest.
Well, I mean, I don't plan, do I?
No, you don't plan, but I guess
My plan is leave it until it must be done and then do it.
like I walked upstairs and I was like, "Oh, the ironing board's still out,"
And
and I
I
contemplated.
left it out because I thought you might need something ironed, and then I forgot
Oh no,
about
I
it.
knew. No, that's okay. But you did ask me if I needed something ironing. But my reasoning there was you're not a problematic partner. So I could have just left the ironing board there. But then I was like, well, no, because I can put it away now and I want to put on the bed sheet. So I decided to be nice. But yeah, I guess whilst you don't plan, our household and the way that we talk to obviously when we're talking like on the podcasts and our social media, not that you see a lot of it, but it talks about being in a healthy relationship and what that dynamic can look like. And I think the dynamic that we have, I still don't see that very much with people. And for me, I guess it's also the fact that I'm really having to work. I'm having to understand in my mind that this is a healthy relationship, and with this, and it sounds so bad, and I don't even mean this in a bad way because it's not like I've never been loved before. I've just never been in such a healthy relationship, and I'm starting to find like I sat earlier upstairs, just sat on the bed for a few minutes, just breathing because I was like, I feel a bit. I guess I thought it was anxiousness, but really it's excitement. So I had to talk myself through that because how I've got us organised at the moment and how we are living our life is meaning that doors are opening that one I wasn't expecting to open. We've talked about you retiring this year. That is more probable than ever, and it's February. We're all right. Like in December, I woke up one day and was like, my depression just came back like that, and I just felt like wanting to live life. Not even that I didn't want to live life, but I had no motivation for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the past few weeks, I've noticed that I've even been getting up out of bed before I need to. Like this morning, I came downstairs and you were like, "What are you doing down here?"
Mm.
Like the sun shines through, even if it's cold. I just feel a complete difference in my mental health. But I also think that that's a huge part to do with you. So yeah, I go back to the question of how do you find it living with someone that's so picky about stuff?
Doesn't bother me.
Really?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't see it. I don't know. I mean, I know you can be picky about stuff, but it's not like at any cost to me.
That's actually surprising for me to hear and makes me feel emotional because
You expect me to say you're a right nag?
no, I don't ever expect you to say that because you'd never talk to me like that. But I was expecting you to say, for example, yeah, it can be a bit much sometimes. Like the fact that we've got everything on a board and I've got a Notion template, I've got Asana, I've got all these things that just
Yeah,
maps
but
everything out.
you might not be surprised how little I look at the board.
Yeah, I know all that, but I think it's and I don't expect you to look at that board very much of anything. I've shared it with Manga because I was like, he needs to be on top of that more than you do because I will tell you of what's going on. Wait, are you talking about the physical board or the
Yeah,
online board?
the one with the food and all on it.
But then you only look at that for the things that you need to look at because really most of the stuff on there is for me. And we've sat down and we've agreed then like if there's washing and once in a while you want to help with hanging it, you'll do that. If I've walked in with no, but
once in a while, that makes it sound way too little.
but how is it? Because that's
I hang a
a chore
lot
I've
of washing.
You hang a lot of washing. Go away. You choose to hang a lot of washing.
Yeah.
But you don't do a lot of washing.
I don't agree with once in a while.
In the past, like 3 weeks.
I would say you semi-regularly hang washing.
Right, in the past 3 weeks, out of, like, let's say, because I've been washing
At
now
least
2-3 times a week.
At least once a week, I'll do it.
At least once a week?
Yeah.
Nah, I think you're being too nice to yourself. You put it on spin, and you get that part of it sorted out for me. But in terms of doing that, it's not at least once a week.
I stand by it.
This week hasn't been once. Yeah, exactly.
I did hang washing this week.
When?
One day.
No, you didn't. Because the washing yesterday, and then I think I did washing on Monday and Tuesday, and that was it. And I hung it because Tuesday was my self-care day, and Monday I also cooked.
Once every 10 days.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But my point, I'm not saying you don't do anything. My point is we've split chores in the house, but agreed that if someone sees something needs doing and they've got the capacity to do it, they will also do it. Like the washing. Or you said to me, if I walk in, don't put a tray closer to the door, put it closer to the sink. Or if there's nothing in there and there's just a couple of plates, wash them up.
Or even just put them in the sink.
Or
if you put the trays away.
But I did do that sometimes. Just in my mind, I just go, okay, if you've got one job, you've got one job, and I've got one job. And then sometimes I do help, because that's the thing. Like I said to you, I didn't want to start doing things and it just become the norm that I did these things all the time. Because how me and you do things are very different.
Yeah.
What were you thinking of there?
Just the washing. How I just put it all in together.
Yeah, all the colours. That stresses me out.
I do white separately.
No, you do not. You do old whites separately to... Sorry, you do old
Things
whites
like
mix... Yeah, that. But I've never seen you put that in a whitewash. I found it in the basket.
But if they're old, it doesn't matter.
You say that, but to me, white's white. Just keep it separate. Oh, you're ridiculous.
Right on. But sure, it doesn't matter, does it? That's why I just sometimes do washing when you're right.
Yeah, then I come back and I look at it and I go, oh. But you do, like, whenever you do wash that type of washing, either I've left it out or you do your own washing. So you're mixing your own stuff. You don't touch mine. Like, we've set very clear rules there.
But yeah, it just doesn't bother me, really, any of that stuff.
Okay, well, that's good for me to know. And really, well, like, I really wasn't expecting that, because now I'm sat here going, oh, I had other questions then planned that now don't relate to you saying you're not too fussed. Well, I guess the whole point of systemizing our lives and everything that I've been trying to do is to make it so that, one, we can settle down and have kids and have it not be overwhelming, but two, it also fits in with our mental health, because if we've got a routine, a system in place, then it just makes it easier, especially when you're feeling down. So I've already started thinking about stuff like when we're getting towards December and your birthday next year. I plan on this time next year, we'll have just come back from Jamaica. That's my plan in my head.
Good luck.
You always tell me I don't need the luck.
Well,
but I appreciate
I'm just wishing you luck.
But
Good
we're
luck.
Be fine. We're going to do it. But yeah. So I guess in terms of like that mental health side of it, how do you find having... Look at your smile.
I thought you were going to ask me how I was.
No, that's
and I was
coming up
already
next.
planning to say 10 out of 10.
Do you know what? We'll go to the mental health bit now, and I'll ask you how you're actually doing, because then I can ask you about, I guess, how you feel these systems also, whether they do work or not, because I'm doing a lot of stuff at the moment and I don't get much feedback. I guess I've been scared to ask you as well, because in my mind I want to get everything sorted and then be like, okay, now you can feedback. But like I just said, I was already there feeling like you were going to say that I'm a bit over the top, and I don't know, I was just expecting words I've heard in the past, I guess.
Well, compared to me, my level of planning, somebody with a basic plan would be over the top in comparison.
But I think we match each other. Like you're one end and I'm the other end, and we meet in the middle. I think to be fair, I prefer you being the way that you are because then it just means that I can suggest something and you either say yes or no, and that's it. But yeah, so for just to give people a bit of context, especially if you've not watched us talk before, G has a system where he gives himself a rating out of 10. And I then saw a thing about Brené Brown that said that if you tell each other like what number you are, let's say you're a 3, which as someone that lives with depression, your constant's like a 3 or 4. That's what you normally wake up feeling, unless it's a weekend, then that might be a 5. But even then, and then because it's so basically the number's supposed to add up to 10 or 100%. So if G's a 3 and I'm a 7, it means that I can take on a bit more of the mental load. So that's where I guess the systemizing for me as well came from. The fact that there are certain, we've now been together long enough and lived together long enough that I can see how we work, how things work, and when I maybe sometimes need to do a little bit more versus when sometimes I need maybe your assistance. So yeah, going back to that, how are you really?
Uh, okay. I mean, I guess feeling a bit better than I had been. But like I said, like work is just a bit of a slog at the minute, just managing an additional person's workload um and that's I guess that's that's the biggest part of your day in a job like mine. I mean, it's like an 8-hour block in the day.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to get motivated to get up and turn the computer on.
Yeah, I noticed you were struggling with that a bit more recently.
But and I suppose like it's one of those jobs where you work on your own, and for the most part, and you don't really see the end result in a concrete way.
Yeah.
Because it's all like saving money and avoiding costs and looking after like intangible things.
Yeah.
So there isn't, there isn't a lot of like job satisfaction, if you like.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I mean, I don't see myself doing the job forever, and it's, that it's not all bad. It's just hard to get up. I guess it's the winter too, like getting up in the dark and the cold and whatever. But I do feel a little bit better than I have been through like the winter and like after my birthday and stuff, and like it was weird going to a funeral on your birthday.
Yeah. 2 funerals in the first 2 months. That's a lot as well.
And then it just leads into anniversaries of other people dying. Yeah. So it's a weird time of year.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess that's also where when I say that because we've now been together long enough, like I've got an idea when the anniversaries are, so things are put in place. There's like in terms of how your cycle works, I think your cycle's quite clear for me anyway. And I can pick up on your moods very easily and shifts in your moods very easily. So yeah, I guess whilst the work side of it's
not really much of a shift though, is it? It's not like a dramatic mood swing.
But that's the thing, you don't have mood swings. Like it's very subtle, and other people wouldn't, like no one else would be ever able to tell. I think the only person genuinely that would ever be able to tell that there's something different about you is my dad. But I think that's because my dad's similar to me, and dad's very good at picking up energy as well as when he knows someone, when he really knows someone. The relationship you two have. Not saying that you're not close to anyone else. I'm talking about on my side of the family, but I just also think that because I also think that your family are very respectful towards like boundaries with you, which is nice, and I love that. Like when we go to your families, I'm like I don't have to worry about dishes or cooking or whatever else. However, I think there's a way that my family kind of forces you to talk that you pick up. I guess that's why I love what I do in business, because it's like I've been set up to be this person that when you are having specific conversations and talking about things, just be careful with you because you keep rubbing it. When you keep yeah, when you keep having specific conversations and talking about like random little things, someone like me and dad can pick up in like a nuance. And obviously, me living with you, some days I wake up and I'm like, oh, I can really feel he's off. Or I might have been sat next to you and go, something's feeling off here. And I go away and I come back and I'm like, all right, I figured it out and it's on your end. So I guess you don't need to have mood swings, but you are human.
Somewhat.
Of course you are. So yeah, so I'm hearing it's mostly a job that's the issue.
Yeah.
Which I guess.
But I mean, like I said, it's not all bad.
Yeah.
It's just, it's hard to do a job that it isn't really the job I thought I was getting. And there isn't much in the way of like tangible rewards out of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that would get on anybody, wouldn't it? Doing any job. I mean, not that it's particularly difficult work, and it's not all bad. It's just like anybody at times just would rather not have to do it.
Yeah. I guess that's where I'm the opposite to you with social media, because I get instant gratification by someone liking something, commenting, and that's bad on it on the other side. And that's where I think that part of my restlessness. So in terms of my mental health, like I said, I'm in a way better place, but that better place is making me then sit and question myself and go, you've picked up some very bad habits over the years and being in survival mode. Like I said to you earlier, I feel like I'm addicted to something. There's a rush that I'm looking for. That's how I currently feel. And sitting and doing nothing, it is hard.
It's not.
For me, it is. Because I'm so used to doing so much for other people, to just survive, to get somewhere. And my life at the moment looks completely different.
But you got to switch off.
Yeah, you do have to switch off. But I think, again, how I switch off and how other people switch off are different. So, like, my self-care days, I might still... Like, actually, last week, I didn't really do anything. Normally, I'd do, like, at least a TikTok video. I doubt I even did one. So I think in terms of when I figure out what I'm supposed to do and I plan it, I'm not as bad, but I do still struggle. Whereas getting to a weekend this time and having nothing to do because one, my work excites me. Two, like I said, I've got instant gratification because our stuff's doing really well. My stuff's doing well. So
maybe you could get into making sourdough.
Sourdough? Isn't that the one?
That takes time. You got to slow down and.
Yeah, I have actually been thinking about
make some bread.
What else I can start doing. Like, I've started having music on in the bathroom now, so that I can just regulate myself again and like sing it out. And I noticed that makes a massive, massive difference. But well, I guess the next stage is we're going to join the gym, so I'm going to see what that's going to
get ripped.
Yeah, I mean, not ripped, but I see what that's going to look like. But I guess I like coming back to the whole thing of why I've tried to organise our lives more. I've tried to do that because of our mental health. So, like, do you think that will make a difference? Like, are there any thoughts towards that?
I mean, I guess it's good to have a plan, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it makes sense in some ways. Like doing a regular food shop.
Yeah. And even setting the meals, because so I'm the meal setter at the moment and will be the meal setter. And we discuss it, but then the final decision's made and then you go and do the food shop. Like, that seems to work quite well. Like, we got an EA that never ended up doing a food shop for us, but those options have been there.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, you couldn't message her?
I couldn't even, I just don't, I would rather pick this stuff myself.
Which is fine, and that's why you are now doing it. But I think the difference in how I've tried to do things for us is, one, look at where we are. Two, look at me as a person and go, I need to learn to delegate and ask for help. And three, trying to refine then what we do try. So, for example, brought in an EA that turns out you don't really need to be in contact with her. As long as I'm in contact with her and I set stuff, you've told me what doesn't work and we found a solution for that. So, to me, the plan and the system's working, but it also makes me think about like the future. Because for me, we talk about retirement. I will come to you one day, very soon, and just say, all right, here's the month. I've given myself my own like deadline and I know what that needs to look like. I've done the figures, like refined them, even down to like the hours I need to be doing in the business, just to be able to turn around and say, all right, work away. But obviously that doesn't mean that like you're not involved in anything. However, I like being able to come to you and say, all right, well, I've already solved that problem. Like I hear you, like I know you don't hate your job, but between me and you, I love my job to the point where it's a bit detrimental. I can't enjoy a weekend without thinking, oh, what more can I plan? However, your job doesn't give you the same satisfaction. So even if, again, my planning in the background is we'll start doing a bit of like the reason I've set up the podcast like this today is to see what it can look like if we mix up a little bit of colour and the video is a little bit different. But I like because you're the creative person, I can see where you would fit in. And if anything, you and my brother are so similar as people that I'm currently using the same tactics.
I'm way taller though.
Yeah, way taller. And he's a lot more hench. But I'm using the same tactics where if I came to you with a plan, you would just be stressed out. Whereas actually, if I start doing things and just come to you with, all right, this is where this is currently, how do you feel about, like you said to me yourself about like doing a little bit of editing, starting a bit of different content that we do on our page. There's stuff in there that I can see you naturally falling into, but you're not the type of person that's told what to do, and neither's my brother. So I think that's also, I don't know, for me, I've seen that as being a beneficial thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, then how is it beneficial for you?
Well, I mean, I don't make plans. Probably not, probably better to have at least some sort of system you can stick to or something to work towards rather than nothing.
Yeah.
And I mean, like if you plan something, or it's not like you're just doing it all and deciding everything. You know, I mean, in terms of like whatever you're planning, and like in terms of our lives.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't plan for everything.
Yeah. That's also my other problem.
You know, you can't get stuck to it, because like what if you plan so much and then it doesn't work out?
Yeah. And my problem is Dad brought us up to have a plan A, plan B, plan C.
Yeah, that's fine, but you also have to be able to roll with the punches and go with the flow a little bit.
Yeah, that's very true. But I think that's where you're, yeah. But this is what I mean is that, and when I say that, that's where I think that we've got a really good balance. Because to me, I actually made a jokey TikTok. It wasn't a joke, it's the truth, saying that if anyone is dating the firstborn, especially a daughter in a family, do not fumble the bag. Because we are brought up to be a particular type of person. And when we find a partner that looks after us, we make sure we look after you. Like, I've talked very openly about, like, I want to love you in a way that I'm comfortable with and I can celebrate. But to me, every little thing you do for me makes me get to the point. And I guess that's where at the moment I'm a bit like, what is going on? Because you just exist and do little things that actually, in the grand scheme of things, those little things add up to something huge, because that's then changed my way of doing things and thinking of things, but in a way that's benefiting us in business, joint business, the agency is benefiting us in life. We watched 7 movies last week.
At
8
least.
movies at
Yeah.
least. People ask, like, how do you have time to do all of this?
It's only like 90 minutes, 2 hours.
They say that, but there are people that can't, by the time they cook, they tidy up, they do whatever else, they don't have time to sit and watch a couple of movies in a week. They might watch like a series and a little bit of something.
Oh, they do?
But what I mean is they think they don't have that time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Whereas the way I see our lives, I commit to giving you time. I don't know, committed to just making me happy. And that means that we've got a decent work-life balance in the evenings. Yes, this past month or so, I have been working more in the evenings than I'd like to work, but that's because there's a lot to put in place. I can then just sit back and go, great. However, the flip side of that in terms of work, like on Friday, I think I didn't get up till like 10:30, 11 because I was shattered.
11:30.
Was it 11:30? Well, I got up first and went back to bed, but I didn't start work till like 12, 1 o'clock. And I did work into the evening, but already on the work side, I can see how that's changing things. And that's wild on its own. Interesting. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. So what number did you give yourself today?
5.
5? To say we've been to a funeral, I'll take that.
Didn't really know them, did I?
Yeah, but it's still a funeral vibe, isn't it? Like I didn't...
Well used to it.
But just because you're well used to it doesn't mean that you don't feel anything. I think that's you and your feelings. We're gonna
I felt uncomfortable that there was no music.
Yeah, the priest was just singing with people. The guy behind us was very tone deaf. That was funny. Well, I still feel like I guess it's a Sunday as we're recording this, so you're going back to work, so a 5 also isn't the worst thing in the world. Nice. All right then. Yeah, this ended up just not being what I was expecting, but I appreciate that you always surprise me.
Is that it?
Right, we'll end on we'll end, unless there's anything else you want to say in terms of your mental health or anything else.
Nope.
Great. Okay, so let's end with your win of the week.
I suppose the biggest thing is getting my wee certificate. I know it wasn't this week, but that's a big win, isn't it?
Oh, for the course that you did, yep. Mr. Distinction.
Yep.
From Ulster University.
So that was pretty good.
Yeah.
After not studying for 10, 11 years.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. I like that when I open the drawer to our special files, it's at the top. I'm like, you did a very good job. What's my win of the week? My win of the week is being so organised that we might potentially have to close the books for a while in terms of the business. And I've not even checked all of my emails and replied to brands that have been contacting me and us. So, yeah, shake your head.
Losing me money.
Losing you money. Yeah, you could retire quicker.
Free merch. NA.
It could be anything, yeah. If you wanted to do some of the admin, you feel free. Because my goal was a year for your retirement. If you step in, it could happen sooner. Exactly, there you go. So yeah, my win of the week has been so organised. And to be fair, also sticking to my guns. Because I can't lie, over the last few years, with my work, with the agency, with what I do, people don't get it. Family don't get it. And when people are giving you advice coming from the heart because they care about you, whilst I appreciate that, when it's coming from a place of not really understanding, it's difficult sometimes to explain to someone that I could be in a better place. Whereas here I am now, I've got a team of people that rely on me so much that I'm having to put systems in place in case I'm not there for a while. I think that's a huge win on its own, but also the fact that, like I said, I've been brought up in a way that I build relationships and long-lasting relationships, and that's coming back to benefit me. So if I had maybe gone back to work because I'd freaked out at one point when things weren't very good, or I'd just given in, I wouldn't be here right now. But I've held out for a reason. I've had a team that's trusted me to be able to get to the point where we are and beyond that. So yeah, that's a massive win for me. Great.
Just need to start going to church more.
I have been twice this year. Don't excuse me, I've not signed off yet. I can see you just raring to go, like, all right, I'm done now. Excuse you. I've been
I thought that was
twice
it over.
this year. No, because I need to say bye. Anyway, thanks for joining me.
No problem.
And thank you to you guys that keep liking, subscribing, doing everything that I do, because you've opened the door for us to do stuff and for me to carry on doing other things. And yeah, I honestly love it. And you get to see that and enjoy a little bit of it. So yay for us as well. Lovely. Right, I'll see you in a good couple of weeks. Bye.